Well, I'm starting a new project here, and I'm going to build this particular lowboy. And it's just a photograph of a piece that I found on the internet. But it has a trifid foot on it, and I've never done a trifid foot before. I'm also going to change the design a little bit on the, it needs some sprucing up on the front. So before I started to work on it, I practiced carving a trifid foot here. This one's passable anyway. It was a good start. And I tried to do it a wing it on my own, but ended up taking a course, online course from Mary May, and I learned a whole lot about how to carve a trifid foot, so that was very helpful. So to get going here, I've got the billets. So to get started with the lowboy, I've got to come up with the cabriolet leg. And this is the shape and height of the cabriolet leg, leaving the block part on the bottom there to cut out or carve the trifid foot. So it's a bit arbitrary. I just kind of drew it out of practice. So we got 1 3/4 up here, and the overall size is 2 3/4 inches. So these are the billets for the mahogany that I had, and they're marked and cut the length, squared up. And these are the tops off of the billets, and they'll be used for the knee blocks later on. So, wrong end, but the I had marked with an X the 4 corners that I wanted to have on the inside, so that the grain ended up being the way I wanted it on the knees of the 4 legs. So that's something that you want to do whenever you're laying out cabriolet legs, is that you want a radial pattern that goes point to point, and then you've got to decide which way you want them for the front 2, and then of course the less than desirable ones end up being on the back 2. Well, that kind of worked, except for this one here, it has a whole bunch of checks in the leg here, and I'm trying to avoid them. So I couldn't follow the pattern on this leg. It'll probably end up being a back leg, but I traced the pattern onto the leg, 2 adjacent sides, like any cabriolet leg that you cut out, and then we'll put this on the bandsaw and cut them out. All right, well, I got the 4 legs cut out now and arranged in an order that I kind of like. The grain is reasonable on the front legs here, and the less desirable ones are here in the rear. This particular, oh, not that one. This one over here has a flaw in it. It was hidden, obviously, when I cut it out, then we found it in there. So that's going to be right where the trifid toe is. So that's going to be a real bear to carve. carve that out, but it'll be in the back here, kind of out of sight, so you won't see it too much. So we've got them where we want them. They're marked for sawing, 1 3/4 on either of these sides, but it's easier to do the mortising when they're square here at the top. So mortises would go in here and here, and then of course on the back and so forth. So the next thing to do would be to lay out where the mortises belong and put them in while it's still square. Well, we're moving along with the project. Here we've got a drawing there with some dimensions on it, and over here we've got our billets. And there we go, that have been bandsawed out. And from my I made my trusty story stick here, which has where the mortises belong on the chest, the lowboy or chest part of it. So with the story stick, I marked out where the mortises belong on these. This is a rear leg, this is a front leg down here. So we're ready to go for some hollow chisel mortising there. Well, I've cut out the 4 legs on the bandsaw, as you saw, and I put the mortises in when they were still solid up here at the top, and then I cut the pieces off, so we got 1 3/4 here, and it was done on the bandsaw, so there are little ripple marks here that's going to have to be planed off to get them nice and smooth. So we got a lot of cleanup there. I did do the mortising when they were square, so we're done with that. So other than cleaning up, we're pretty much done. So the next thing to do is to start to work on the sides, back, and front of the various pieces. So down here we've got some mahogany, a matched pair of boards, and started to mark it out. So I'm going to break it down and cut the top into 2 pieces there, and then the sides and so forth out of those 2 pieces of mahogany. So that's what I'm going to do next.